Hi, Patreon peeps. Thanks for joining us. So, we're just going to have a little discussion about Halloween, shall we? Halloween is also Michael Landon's birthday. So, we thought we'd talk a little bit about Michael Landon. And Allison showed up with something she's hiding from us, but I don't know
What
what
are
it
you
is.
hiding?
What are you hiding, Allison?
I have this because I know, God, do I keep everything? I guess I did, but it's good
That's
because I
good.
actually wound up scanning it and emailing it to Leslie Landon Matthews, who did not have a copy.
Oh, wow.
This is
Oh, it disappeared. There we go.
this is
Okay.
the funeral card. This is
Oh,
from Michael's funeral.
wow.
This is
Wow.
it's got the cover, the thing here,
Sure, sure.
and it has inside a fabulous whole obituary thing
You're,
and services at Hillside Chapel.
I
This was
remember
July
that
5th,
day very
91, as it
well.
says here.
Yeah.
Born October 31st, 1936. Dear God.
Wow.
And died July 1st, 1991. And this was July 5th. The Rabbi Harvey J. Fields presiding, Senior Rabbi, Wilshire Boulevard Temple. And the speakers were Jay Eller and Melissa Gilbert and
Hmm.
Barney Martin and Leslie Landon and Merlin
And
Olson,
Merlin
who
Oh,
did
Olson was
wow.
the
wonderful.
Wow.
eulogy.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it was absolutely amazing. And I still have this. I'm trying to find the other page. There was an insert with the Jewish prayer, the Kaddish, the thing that you do
Oh,
at the
Yeah, the
funeral,
Kaddish.
which
Yeah,
was
yeah.
the Kaddish. And I can't find it because Leslie's going, find it. And so yeah, she wants a
yeah.
copy of
So
that too.
she didn't have it. What a
She said,
gift to
yo, you
her.
moved your things. I can't believe she
Ugh,
was there. She spoke. She says it was obviously that day trying to
Oh,
remember what one did with it when they took it. Who knows where it
yeah.
is.
that
I happen to have mine. I crazily, I don't know if you can see little pins holes. I can't, am I going to choke up? Oh my God. I keep it up on my bulletin board in my office. So
really.
yes, I do see Michael Landon every day.
Wow.
Yes,
Yeah.
he is in my office where I'm like writing and stuff. And
Wow.
I,
Wow.
get up in the morning, walk in and go, thank you. And yes, Michael Landon is on my bulletin board watching
Mm.
every day.
He was such a study in contrasts as a
Yeah.
human being.
Yeah.
And I think this being born on Halloween
Hmm.
is an interesting
Scorpio, baby.
way into his life, because we all saw it. I mean, he could be raucously out there funny. He could be edgy. He could be dangerous if he
Yeah.
needed to be that. And he could be so sweet and touching and kind and emotional. And all of this package is wrapped up in him. And very tough to put your finger. I mean, Michael was all those things. And so
Yeah.
he was not just one thing. He was a lot of different things. And he was able to be different things to different people.
Yeah.
What the audience saw most often, and Michael was very much in command of how he occurred in the world.
Mm.
I mean, as any strong performer is, he knew what he was bringing. What the audience saw was this, wonderful father figure, wonderful husband, friend, community member, all of that. And he exemplified that for millions and millions of people and continues to all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
But there was this, and Allison, you saw, you were there
Yeah.
so much of the time. You could see in a blink of an eye the other side of him.
Well, and I've had people who are into astrology say something like, I don't know because I don't have what time of day he was born,
Yeah.
but they're saying like triple Scorpio or whatever. Yeah. And people who are into this go, yeah, that's a Scorpio for
Oh,
you.
that's
Yeah.
interesting.
His passion for the show is passion. Obviously there's a huge obit here, but the whole thing would tear your heart out and make you sob hysterically. But there's a couple of sentences that are just killer. You're talking about born Eugene Orowitz.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll try to read a sentence and not cry. With courage and conviction born of his early pain,
Mm-hmm.
Michael stood for family values in his series and television movies, never wavering despite pressure for something other than wholesome values.
Mm.
He always held out for what he believed in, and his worldwide popularity proved him right time and again. He had 9 children of his own and millions of others who looked upon him as a surrogate father. By his death, we are all deprived, but by his life, we were tremendously enriched. He was truly one of a kind. They knew. They knew, when they.
Yeah.
When someone like that, who's such a titan, I mean, he was a titan in the public eye, and he was a titan in the private eye with you guys too, in all of his multifaceted good and bad.
Well, he was fully human, is I think what you'd say
Absolutely.
about Michael. He was a fully human being.
But when someone like that goes in the way in which he went, I think, I'm 47. 54 is young. It's just too young.
Yeah.
And so when someone like that goes so young in that way, it's a real, I don't know how you guys really handled it. I couldn't imagine handling that, having had the relationship with him that y'all had. And I'm sure it left such a major impact on you forever.
Well, Alison, I don't know. I'm just going to say that it was so unreal. It's like it's like it just couldn't have happened.
Yes.
Because there was something so vital and powerful about Michael in the way he occurred in the world that you just feel like nothing can get this guy.
Right, exactly.
I mean, I think that's the fact that he did what he did, and he knew what he was doing wasn't for everybody. He was very clear about that. And I think this, you're just making mention of that, Alison. He knew it wasn't, he was never trying to be all things to all people, which was a very common practice in network television at the time. Was you wanted to draw from this very wide net of people, but Michael was absolutely convinced about what he was doing, and he believed in it strongly, and he brought it. And he never, to your point, and what was said in his obituary, he never betrayed that audience.
No, and we thought he was one of those people who acted like he was going to live forever. And we believed
when he has lived forever.
Sure you are.
No,
and
but
he was like, I'm never sick, Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. He's never left the world. And Michael will never, now that Little House has gone digital, now that it's ones and zeros and can be converted to any, whatever the codec is, that is the dominant codec I think that Michael has and we're all blessed to be a part of this. Michael made it possible for all of us to have a kind of immortality that's pretty spectacular. And I don't think at the time when it's happening, you can't appreciate what that means. As we've all gotten older, I think we are, in our own ways, we are all increasingly aware of what that gift is that he gave us. And, it wasn't, every day wasn't a bed of roses doing it, but the gift the overarching gift is so incredible. You just can have nothing but gratitude for what
you talk about him not caring, like, okay, I'm going to do this, and if other people, like, resisting pressures is an obit and saying, I don't care if everybody didn't like it.
Right.
There was this kind of almost Hollywood outsider thing going on.
He totally was an outsider.
There were all sorts of well, we talked to his buddy who was at NBC talking about kind of having to be the go-between. Well, at his funeral, remember, my father was a manager and very Hollywood and very astute about what was happening. Turns to me and goes, okay, you see all who's here. And I'm like, wow. Yeah, okay. Ronald Reagan and Nancy stopped in and spoke to the family and went and took their seats. I think Lionel Richie was there. There were many, many huge stars there. And there was the whole cast there. And there was this. My father turns to me and goes, look who's not here. I went, what? And he said, this man is how famous? This man has done how much for NBC and for television in general? Where are all the NBC executives? Where are any network executives? Where are the following stars, blah, 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 who in theory, someone of this level of fame dying this young and suddenly and this publicly would absolutely be in those seats, and they're not here.
Wow.
And I went, whoa. And he went down the list like, this was it. They should be. They're not here. They're not here. They're not here. Yeah, huge stars are here. They're not here. He said, because he wasn't playing the game, sucking up, what have you.
Yeah.
He would do what he wanted to do, and that particular clique, that Hollywood clique that
Mm-hmm.
would have in theory gone to his funeral. Not there.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's interesting.
That's
That is
unbelievable.
interesting. I think, I think he really reveled on being that outsider. You know,
Hmm.
he
Anyone who's at
liked
that funeral is
that
someone who really
position.
loved him. So
Yeah, he liked that position, and he did it really, really well. And his ultimate confidence was that the audience, his audience, loved what he was doing and they would continue to watch it. And here we are 50 years later after Little House began, and people are still watching it. And we're beginning the next half century of Little House love, and there's no sign of this going away at all.
You know, it's funny. I always parallel to Michael Landon's passing. I think the only comparable one is Jim Henson,
Mm.
who also
Oh, that's
died, I think, the
interesting.
same age. I mean, I think they were the same
yes.
age. And also, it's someone else who had such a incredible critical impact
Yeah,
on
yeah.
our culture, and that it will live on forever. And this guy that was full of life and
Mm.
vibrancy, and you just
Mm.
thought this is going to go on forever.
Yeah,
I always hold those two sort of
Oh,
parallel with each other.
that's
I
interesting.
love that you said that because I met Carol Spinney, who was Big Bird,
Big
and
Bird.
Oscar, who I loved, of course. Random in an airport. We later met at autographs.
Oh,
We met in
wow.
an airport. We were both coming back from and we started talking because first I was like, that's Oscar the Grouch, and fanning out. But he fanned out because Bonnethead, and the two of us started comparing notes, and I have an autograph thing for him. Oscar loves Nellie, is crazy. But
Oh my
he
God.
said, tell me everything about Michael Landon. I have to know. I said, tell me everything about Jim Henson.
Jim
He goes, yeah, pull
Henson.
up a chair. And I'm like, look, I would love the Muppets and Henson, the thing. He goes, oh my God, he was an incredible person. It's mind blowing. And he was such a bundle of contradictions, and he was never sick, and he didn't want to go to the doctor when he got sick, and his wife had to drag him going, I remember the time Michael's wife had to drag him. Wait, what? We started exchanging stories. And at one point he said, good God, are we talking about the same person?
Mm.
The driven creatively go,
Mm.
I'm writing a new episode, everything comes to a halt, I got to write this episode longhand on a yellow legal pad. And he said, Henson, call us like in the middle of the night and say, do you want to come down to the studio? I have an idea. And we're like, oh my God. And we compared notes, and he said these two were like brothers from another mother. They could have been brothers.
That's interesting.
I I had no I always held those two parallel. That's an incredible story, Allison. That's
And Spinney loved
amazing.
Michael Landon, worshipped him, thought Michael Landon was the greatest thing. We needed to know everything about
Wow. Wow.
Well,
Well, I'm
people, yeah,
validated. There we
yeah,
go.
there you
him. You
go.
are right.
It's incredible.
There
It's
you go.
really incredible. That is wild.
I was blown away.
Wild.
So
Well, because they had the same impact on the
yeah,
world, and it's still going. It'll never go away. It'll
it's
never
just,
go away.
yeah, it's goodness. It's this
Yes.
overarching sense of goodness that
Yes, that's it.
comes out in the work. Uh, Complex, contrary at times, but the goodness, the commitment to
Mm-hmm,
goodness,
mm-hmm.
to
That's
human
it.
goodness is huge with both of
Yeah.
these guys.
Yeah.
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 I think
That
that
is
boy.
it. That is it.
So I think that's I mean,
That's
what
our
a little,
Patreon.
yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Listen, we plan on doing more episodes about Michael. We're going to have some guests on and talk
Yeah.
more about him and his legacy. And we really look forward to doing that. But thank you so much for being here on Patreon, you guys. We couldn't do it